Hello, freak bitches.
The NCAA is just a whole nother conversation. Those crooks don't pay their employees, but as far as the NFL, you get compensated, and you know the risks. For the most part, you know the risks going into the NFL. Like I chose to do this at a young age.
I'm glad you just said that. Those crooks don't pay their employees because that is a dark and dirty fucking business. College sports.
I hate it. I hate it.
I hate it, and I don't have anything to do with it. But I watch it. I'm like, that's cool. When you find out how much those fucking schools get from all those people in order to make sure that their team is successful, because the alma maters want to, yay, we fucking won again.
That's all
and they get billions of dollars. They're a fucking huge business.
Man.
And the athletes don't get paid anything.
Nah, man. I've told many times. I've told my side of that story, man. I'm not a fan of the NCAA at all.
I'm not a fan either. I think it's stealing. I think they're stealing 100%. From those athletes.
That's what it is. I mean,
you're ruining their careers, most likely.
Yeah.
If you do 4 hard years of college football, what are the odds you're going to get out of that without a permanent injury?
No, I had, I think 3 or 4 of my surgeries came from college. Yeah. It's tough.
And you're playing for free.
Mm-hmm. And you play for. And my buddy.
But hey, you get an education.
And see, that's the thing that kills me, man. When people say that pisses me off because it's like
they always like to say that.
I hate that. So when I first went to school, I wanted to study astronomy. Like that was what I wanted to study. So I went to my academic advisor, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. Like it took me like a year to figure out, okay, this is what I want to do. I was in love with the stars and the college. I just wanted to know about it. And as soon as I said it, like, oh, you can't do that. I was like, why? He's like, because those classes conflict with the practice schedules and the meeting schedules. And I was like, well, shit. And so I had to wait another year in order to find what I wanted to do, and I ended up settling for philosophy, which was a cool major, but it didn't. I feel like if I would have got influenced by astronomy early on, then it would have changed my trajectory. It would have changed the way I thought about a lot, or I'd arrived to the conclusions that I'm at now a lot sooner.
Yeah, the whole you're getting an education thing. What, are you getting a real education?
Hell no. Like
no?
It's about a month, maybe a month or 3 weeks after the season, before you go into spring ball, which is like you're up at 5 a.m. lifting, running, yada yada yada. But there's like a 3 week period where they leave you alone and you're just like a regular student. And I did not know what to do with my time. Like I'm like, how are these people not acing their classes? Like I didn't understand like how. I mean, granted they were taking tougher courses, but it's just like you have so much time. I didn't know what to do with my time because whereas before I'm up early in the morning, lifting weights, running, then going to class, then after class you get a little lunch, then go to another class, then you come back and you're in meetings, and then after meetings you go to practice, and after practice you got to find some kind of energy to study.
Yeah, well, give me a rundown. So, like, what time of the morning would you get up? So when you're in school,
usually I had most of my classes were 8 o'clock classes. So
8 a.m. you're up.
No, I was up before that. So and depending on the day, so you have to get a workout in. Depending on every strength coach has a different protocol. So you have to lift at least 3 times a week. 2 to 3 times a week, and so you either lift before class or before practice or after practice. So you have to find your time.
After practice got to be hard, right?
Yeah,
you're exhausted.
Really. Then you're just kind of going through the motions.
So, but do you want to do it before practice? Because then you might be tired when you go into practice. You might not perform up to the best of your abilities.
I was not the best at that. I used to get in trouble a lot because I was like, dog, there's no way you guys can expect me to do all of this shit. I used to get in trouble a lot for skipping weights. And I wasn't big on weights anyway. Like I was like, I didn't see like, because we had a lot of Olympic weight lifting, and that's kind of changing too. We had a lot of like deadlifts and squats and shit like that, and I was never a fan of that stuff. I was like, this is not conducive to being successful.
What do you think is plyos or
like
sprints?
Yoga would have
really?
been, yeah. If we had like a yoga, I'd have been there every time because it's like you're getting loose. You're any kind of you're being limber is more important than being strong, in my opinion, especially
really?
in my position. I mean, there are some positions like D lineman and offensive lineman where you gotta push. But I'm not one of those. I wasn't one of those positions. Being a running back, it's like DBs, receivers, like stay limber, stay hydrated with good nutrition.
So for you, it's more important to be flexible and to be able to move your body in like very fluid ways.
Right.
So to be able to avoid takedowns,
right.
to be able to avoid somebody trying to tackle you,
right.
you more pliable's better.
In my opinion, yeah.
That's interesting. That's an interesting way of looking at it. So you would they would force you to do a certain amount of lifts.
Yeah, you got to do a certain amount of lifts, and then you got to go to class, and you got to stay up.
And then when you're doing these lifts, are they supervised, or you have to do them on your
own? Yeah,
own?
coaches in there.
So
that's another thing that bothered me too. Was like I was like a rebel, man, because it's like they would follow you around the weight room, right? Because some guys liked to like try to jerk the system, and I'm like this is what I want to do with my life. Like I'm not gonna cheat myself. Like stop following me around.
Right, leave me alone.
Yeah, it was like weird. And then they have class checkers that follow you, make sure you go to class.
Class checkers.
Yeah, and it's just like, bro, like I just feel like a little kid, man. Like get out of my face. And so like after a while, that just wore on me, and like the whole system wore on me. And on the top of that, like I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying? You don't got the food. I know people gonna get on me again. People from Tennessee hate me, bro. It's weird. But
people from Tennessee hate you?
Yeah.
Why?
I went
right.
there, and for some reason, anytime I say anything about the NCAA, they think I'm talking about Tennessee itself. It's weird. They're like, "Fuck you, man." Like I still have people to this day. Matter of fact, yesterday in my mentions talking about like fumbles I had from like 10 years ago. I'm like, bro, like it's weird, man. People are awkward, man.
Well, people love to bring up things that you've done wrong.
But I was like 18
people
years old.
They love it. They love it.
It's funny, man.
It is funny.
What are you gonna do?
So you would get up in the morning and you would have to figure out when you're. So would you schedule your lifts in?
It's not necessarily a schedule. It's more like a whatever suits your schedule the best.
So if you have an 8 o'clock class, you'd get up.
You can either go before class or whenever your break is during.
And how many classes are you doing a day?
It's probably like 2 or 3.
And what, you're supposed to keep up a certain GPA?
Yeah, 2.5.
So you have to keep up a 2. What is that, like a C average or something?
Like C average.
So you go to your class, you do whatever you got to do, and then how many times a day are you practicing?
Once a day.
Once a day.
You have meetings. Meetings are like an hour 30.
And the meetings are essentially like going over strategy and
you get your playbook, your game plan, watch film on the other team or yourself.
Is it hard to motivate yourself watching all that shit?
Yeah, after a while. For me, because like quarterbacks are different. They don't have to exert as much physical energy as we do, and they're more on a mental game. So they have to know the defensive games that the defensive coordinator's playing, right? So what coverage they're in, what the safeties are doing. They have to know all that. As a running back, you kind of have to know, but not as much. You kind of just have to know where the blitzes are coming from. I don't want to bore you with the intricacy, but after a while, like I didn't need to watch much film in order for me to get my assignment done. So a lot of the time, I'm just sitting there wasting time. A lot of guys feel like that too.
Yeah, I would imagine you're sitting there watching some stupid plays.
Like I always told my coaches, especially in the league, I was like, you could give me my game plan like Saturday before the game, and I'll execute it. Like I think a lot of what they do in the NFL is just reinforcement. It's just over and over, and it's repetition. And after a while, especially if you're a veteran, like you don't need. That's why Brett Favre, like when he was deciding on whether to come back or not, he was like, I would love to, but all that other shit, I don't like doing all that, the meetings and the practice.
That's what kept him back?
Yeah, man.
Really?
It just gets old. It gets super old, man. And you don't, if you know what you're doing and you are well versed in your craft, you don't need half of that shit. And this is terrible for the younger cats that are listening to this.
Yeah, well,
y'all need it, man.
Well, there's something about a guy like Brett Favre too, with all that fucking gray hair, all grizzled old veteran.
He's a goat,
still wanting to do it.
He's a goat, man.
Crazy, right?
He's a goat, man.
It's just crazy that he still wanted to do it. I mean, how many times has that guy been dinged?
That's what I'm saying. I don't get hit a lot though. Like
get hit enough.
Yeah, I mean,
Jim McMahon's all